Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, it makes night number 1 of my 9 nights of Navratri here on Matthew's Guyanese Cooking. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a very quick and easy Lapsi and Puri or Suhari recipe. Now for anybody who doesn't know what Lapsi and Puri is, it is basically a sweet that is usually made for Mother Durga Puja or any type of Devi Puja in the Hindu religion. Now this basically consists of a sweet pudding. It is a whitish color and it has raisins, it has some spices, and then it is served with puri or sweet fried flatbread. Today's video is dedicated to the first form of Mother Durga named Shailaputri, and she is the representation of Shakti, determination, and strength. Now as you all can see, I am dressed to impress today. I have this awesome red sherwani today from Lotus Bazaar. I want to thank Kavita over at Lotus Bazaar for sponsoring this video and all of the other videos that you're going to be seeing for these 9 nights of Navratri on my channel. Now, if you're interested in purchasing Indian wear such as this for men, young kids, or also women, young little girls, whatever the case may be, you can go ahead and check out Lotus Bazaar. Make sure that if you head on over to Lotus Bazaar, you let everybody know that Matthew's Guyanese Cooking sent you. I promise you all that when you go to Lotus Bazaar, you're gonna have a great experience. You're gonna have quality items by the time you walk out of there, and of course, you're gonna have some great prices for awesome outfits like this. So the amount of lapsi and puri that I'm making today is a very small batch. This is the perfect amount for if you needed to make it for offerings during puja, and then of course you will have some left over to eat afterwards. Whenever you do Mother Durga Puja, you need 9 pairs of lapsi and puri, and you need a 10th pair for Kalbairo. So this recipe right here will give you over 20 puris, more than you need. So the first thing we're going to do is start off by making the puri. So in a bowl, I've added in some all-purpose flour. I've also added in a little pinch of sugar as well as some ghee. And all I'm doing with my hands is I'm rubbing in that ghee into the flour until it is nice and crumbly. And at this point, I'm going to start to stream in some milk a little bit at a time until I get a soft dough. Now in my family, whenever we make puri, we always mix it with milk. Some families do milk and water, and some families just do water. Whichever way that you like to do it, feel free to do it that way, but definitely give it a try with the milk because it keeps it nice and soft. And when you're making this dough in particular, you don't want it too hard because you're going to get very stiff puris, and you don't want it too soft or else they're going to be a little hard to roll out. You want it somewhere in between. Now once your puri comes together into a nice ball like this, you're going to keep on kneading it until it is a smooth texture and it bounces back at you. And this is the way that I like to knead my puri. I like to go ahead and put it on my board and keep on kneading it until it gets nice and smooth. For me, this is easier than working with it in the bowl, but if you wanted to do it in the bowl, feel free to do that as well. But this right here is exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for a nice smooth texture, and when you press on it, it bounces back at you. Now there's no need to rest this dough at all. All you need to do is go ahead and roll it into a thin log, and then you can go ahead and cut your desired size pieces. Whenever my family and I make puri, we make them very small. We do not like big puris at all. So all I'm doing here is I'm cutting it into small portions, and then I'm going to show you how to round them out. Now once you finish cutting the puri into your desired size pieces, you're going to go ahead and round them out. Basically what I mean by that is you're going to dip each piece into flour, and then you're going to take your fingers and just press it out into a nice round such as this. So I have my pieces of dough all rounded out, and I have lots of flour on standby so this way nothing sticks. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to roll out all of my puris until they are nice and thin. Whenever you make puri, you should be able to almost see through that puri. That's how thin it should be. And of course, if you want to make it bigger, you can make it bigger. And if you want to leave it small like how we made it, you can leave it nice and small such as this. You want to go ahead and keep on rolling out every piece and make sure you use a lot of dry flour because if you don't use enough, they will stick. And every time you're done rolling one of your puris out, you want to go ahead and dust it with some more dried flour, and then you want to lay it on top of the other puri that you had rolled out, because we're going to be frying them in pairs. You never really want to fry puri one at a time because it takes a long time, number one, and also they're so thin that they tend to crisp up very fast when you fry them one at a time. At this point, it is time to start the frying process. So basically, I've heated up some ghee in a heavy bottom pot, and I heated it on a medium to medium high heat. Once it heats up, you want to lower the heat a little bit because when you add your puris in, you do not want it to be sizzling too hard. If it sizzles too much, then the puris will end up getting crispy, and you do not want that. You want them to still be smooth and soft on the outside. So as you all can see, once I added in a pair of the puris, I went ahead and I flipped it right away as soon as it started to bubble up, and then I flipped it once more and I took it out of that hot ghee. It only takes about 20 seconds to cook a pair of puri. And as soon as it comes out of that hot ghee, you want to go ahead and have some paper towels nearby and dab all of them so this way you can dry off some of that excess ghee. And once you dry off your first pair of puris, you're going to go ahead and continue frying the rest in pairs. And as I mentioned before, it's always helpful to have about 2 people in the kitchen whenever you're making puri, because one person can fry and then one person can dab the extra ghee off of the puris when they're done cooking. And again, like I mentioned, do not leave these in the hot ghee for too long, because if you leave them in the hot ghee for too long, they will crisp up and then they will be hard and they will not be nice and soft. So I'm going to continue this process until I finish frying all of my puris, and then I'll go ahead and start making my lapsi. So the puri is done frying, and at this point we're going to start to make our lapsi, or that sweet pudding, to go in between those puris. So what I'm going to start off by doing is, in a heavy bottom skillet, I'm going to add in some all-purpose flour. And on a medium to medium low heat, we're going to parch or dry roast this flour until the flour is light in texture and it cooks through. At the end of this process, the flour will be just slightly golden and it will be lighter in texture when you're stirring it. After about 12 to 15 minutes on a medium low heat, this is what my flour looks like. As you all can see, the flour is a little more dusty than it was before. It's gotten lighter in texture. It doesn't feel as heavy because we've cooked out some of the moisture that was in it. And at this point, it is ready to go ahead and start mixing with the rest of the ingredients to make the lapsi. Once you finish parching or dry roasting your flour, you're going to go ahead and empty it into a bowl. And the reason why we empty it into a bowl is so this way it can start to cool down, and so this way we can mix it with the other ingredients. And once your flour gets to cool down for about 5 minutes, you're going to go ahead and add in some sugar. And at this point, if you wanted to add in a little bit of cardamom or elaichi powder, you can. And I know there are some people out there that will add cinnamon, they will add nutmeg, and they will add various spices. My family does not do this. Sometimes we add a cinnamon stick while it's cooking, but that's as fancy as we get. And once you get the flour and sugar mixed together, it is time to go in with some milk. So for this recipe today, I'm going to be using some evaporated milk from the can, and I will be using some whole milk from the bottle. Some people like to use all whole milk, some people like to use all evaporated milk, and some people even mix in a little bit of water. So basically, whatever liquid and whatever types of milk that you're adding in, you want to add it in slowly, and you want to keep on whisking until you get a nice, smooth, thin batter-like consistency. As you all can see here, I'm going in with my whole milk, and I'm just going to keep on mixing this until I get a very thin texture, as you all can see here. Now that we've mixed the flour with all the other ingredients, we're going to go ahead and start to cook. So in that same heavy bottom skillet, I'm going to go in with a little bit of ghee, and I'm going to allow it to heat up on a medium heat. Now once your ghee has melted and it is heated up on a medium heat, you're going to go ahead and strain that flour and milk mixture right into that hot ghee. And the reason why we strain the mixture is because, as you can see in that little strainer, there's a lot of little fine lumps that you wouldn't have seen while you were mixing it together. So do this step so this way you can get a very smooth lapsi. And as soon as you add it into the pan with the ghee, you want to keep on whisking this mixture or stirring this mixture until it gets nice and thick, almost like a pastry cream. After about 8 minutes on that medium heat, this is what I'm left with. It's starting to get nice and thick. We still need to cook it for a little while longer because it is still too runny, but all you want to do is keep on mixing and beating it so this way it stays nice and smooth as it cooks. After another 2 minutes, this is what my mixture looks like, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add in some raisins that I have soaked in some water. The reason why we soak the raisins is so this way they do not fall apart in the lapsi. They're going to stay nice and whole and nice and plump. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to cook it for about 1 minute to 2 more, because remember, when you take this off of the heat, it's going to continue to thicken up a little bit more. And if you were serving this after a puja, it'll be a couple hours until it's served, and it may get too thick if you overcook it. So this is the texture that I'm going to be going with. As you all can see, it is nice and thick. It is not overly runny, but it is also not thick like a parsad. You do not want to overcook it to that stage. And like I mentioned before, if you were preparing this lapsi and puri for puja, you would need 9 pairs of the lapsi and puri. So basically, you would take 2 of those puris, like a pair of them, and then you would go ahead and spoon some of that lapsi in the middle. You would fold it over, and then usually when you make your offerings, you will put 3 cloves on the top. You'll stud it with them, and you want to make sure that the cloves have heads on them still, or the little round pieces. And also, if you were making this for puja, you would also tikka them with some sindoor as well as some turmeric or haldi or dye. And of course, if you were offering this, you would need some neem leaves as well as some flowers. Alright everyone, that is how quick and simple it was to put together my lapsi and puri. Now this recipe right here was passed down from generation to generation in my family. My auntie Chitra taught me how to make this recipe, my grandmother taught her, and my great-grandmother taught my grandmother how to make this. So this recipe right here is definitely special to all of us in our family, and I hope you all give it a try at home. So now I'm gonna give it a taste test just to show you guys how amazing it actually is. So this is the Lapsi and Puri that I made. As you all can see, that lapsi looks nice and creamy, it's nice and smooth, and the puri that I made is nice and soft. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try for you all. So what I like to do is I like to break off a piece of puri like this, and then as if you were eating roti and anything, you dip it into that lapsi. This one right here is definitely a winner, and I hope you all give it a try. The lapsi is perfectly smooth, not too thick and not too thin at the same time. The puri has the perfect texture, it's nice and soft and pliable. Again, if you're all interested in purchasing something amazing like this from Lotus Bazaar, whether it be for men, women, little kids, or any accessories that you can imagine, go ahead and check them out. And if you enjoyed this Lapsi and Puri recipe today, please go ahead and give it a nice big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed yet. Go ahead and drop some comments down below and let me know what you'd like to see more of on my channel. And I'll be seeing you guys again tomorrow night for night number 2 of my 9 nights of Navratri. Bye everyone.